Miller has been waived by the Clippers unexpectedly. Does this mean Bradley Beal is on the way? Welcome into Clippers Talk. I'm Adam Osland. Good to be with you guys. People are just jumping in now. Obviously, I'm at home. I wasn't expecting this news currently, but it is worthy of a podcast. Been a fan of Jordan Miller. Was hoping he would have found his way into the rotation permanently last season, but it didn't happen. Damari's in here. Says first, the reason it didn't happen is Jordan Miller, quite frankly, didn't play well enough in the minutes he got. And guys, he got a real look. He did. But these are the consequences of having a team that is going for 50 wins year after year. It is hard to crack the rotation for young guys. There is a really high standard that you have to be playing at if you're a young guy with this Clippers team. That's just the way it is. You better be playing really good basketball to stay up with the big ball club. This is not New Orleans. This is not Charlotte. Clippers were trying to win games. And Jordan Miller, well, he didn't play poorly. He got off to a quick start. He had a 10-point game at Boston. He had a 15-point game against Washington. He had 11 against Houston. After he had 14 against Portland and 12 against Houston at home on December 8th, Jordan Miller wasn't able to find his footing after a game against Denver where he went 0 for 2, got ripped going downhill to the basket, had the ball taken away from him, and it just looked like he started to lose his confidence. Next game out against Utah, 20 minutes, 1 of 6 from the field, 0 of 4 from the outside, just 2 points. The minutes started to be reduced over the next 3 games. Then he got 14 minutes again against San Antonio, just 2 points. 23 minutes in a loss to OKC, had 10 points. A lot of this was coming in garbage time, but he stopped taking 3-pointers. And he was 1 for 5 in that game against OKC, but after that, he didn't take a 3-pointer, even though he continued to play for 5 straight games. Jordan Miller seemed to lose his confidence. It happens. These are the growing pains of being in the league, being a young player, but it's just a consequence of the Clippers wanting to be a team that is trying to win now, and therefore the standard of play is very high, and it's hard for rookies and young players to stay out there. 2 years ago, Kobe Brown got about a 10, 12 game look. Played okay, got a little bit better towards the end of it. Hasn't showed us much since then, hasn't been good enough in the G League. We all like Jordan Miller. This seems to be telegraphing that Bradley Beal is on the way. All the reporting says that. From Clutch Points, Brett Siegel. Teams around the league apparently believe that he's going to the Clippers. And now the Clippers have opened up 3 roster spots. One of them would be taken by Kobe Sanders. I will share my screen. The reporting is coming out of Clutch Points. Keith Smith and Brett Siegel have been doing good work on this. Brett Siegel saying 3 roster spots open for the Clippers, and they can get right up to the first apron line by utilizing, remember, they can't go over the first apron because they use their non-taxpayer mid-level exception. They're hard capped there. By utilizing the remaining portion of their mid-level exception, that's $5.3 million, a minimum contract that they can still give out, and signing their second round pick. That would be Kobe Sanders. Keith Smith said Clippers are now $8.9 million under the first apron. hard cap with 3 open roster spots. LA has the $5.3 million remaining. $5.3 million remaining of the non-taxpayer mid-level exception. They could use that amount and have enough space left over for a veteran minimum contract and to sign Kobe Sanders using the second round pick exception. I don't know all the inner workings of the salary cap, but it looks like the Clippers are making room to give somebody that $5.3 million they have left on the mid-level exception, somebody a minimum contract, and then signing Kobe Sanders to the rest of it, a veteran minimum contract to sign him using the second round pick exception. If you're wondering also why is it Jordan Miller being let go? Why is Kobe still on the team? Robert Flom outlined that. Kobe's deal for next year is fully guaranteed. Jordan Miller's was not. That simple. The interesting wrinkle to all of this is if Jordan Miller clears waivers, according to Law Murray, he could still play for the Clippers Summer League team. And I guess showcase his skills for other teams out there. Here's Law. If Miller passes through waivers unclaimed, then Miller is still set to play for the Clippers summer team. Okay. There's the update. Jordan Miller has been waived. Answered your question about Kobe Brown. His contract next is guaranteed. Miller's was not. Cam said, I have to call your bluff on that one. Kobe has put up multiple triple doubles in the G League. Do your homework. That's not what they're looking for from him. They're looking for him to knock down 3-pointers. He's not. He hasn't been. That's what Kobe Brown needs to do. And I love when people say youngster. Kobe Brown and Jordan Miller are 25. They're turning 26, both of them, in January. Those aren't young players. Unfortunately, what's the saying? You got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet. If you want to get Bradley Beal, if you want to bring these guys in, and all signs are pointing towards Bradley Beal, you got to open some roster spots. And Jordan Miller was a casualty of that. The same people that want to bring in all these guys, that want the Clippers to have a team that can compete at this high of a level, well, where was Jordan Miller going to play? If you bring in all these good players, which everybody wants, where was Jordan Miller going to play? Levi Ivan said, if Jordan Miller ends up being an MVP in 5 or 6 years, I will lose it. Mio said, our youngsters on our geriatric roster. Nuance. Way to go. They're still not young players in the league is the point. They're technically, you can say relative to the rest of the Clippers roster, no one cares. They're not even 22. They're 25. It's an interesting move, but it makes sense if they're getting Beal, somebody else. But hard to see a scenario where they don't get Bradley Beal right now. It's, again, refuse to develop young talent. They developed Terrence Mann. They developed Amir Coffey. When young talent has been good enough to play on the floor with the big club and stay out there, they've gotten their opportunities. Why Jordan Miller, not Kobe? I just covered this. I will share the screen again. Kobe Brown, I don't need to share the screen. Kobe Brown's deal for next year is fully guaranteed. Jordan's was not. That would be why. Bastian Schweinsteiger said, "Weird how I haven't gotten credit for posting the John Collins trade about 12 months ago. Must be a coincidence." You and everybody else. Ross said this could be good for Jordan Miller if he lands on a rebuilding team that will allow mistakes and development without the pressure of win now. There's a higher standard for being a young player playing on the Clippers. You have to be really good to blend in with the veterans on this team that is trying to win. It's not Charlotte. It's not New Orleans. It's not the same thing. Yes, I'm talking about Brandon Boston and Musa Diabate. They got run on really bad teams. That's not going to happen on this Clippers team. So, are we looking at Bradley Beal in a Clippers uniform? Is that why I'm doing this show? Waiting for news to break? How was Jordan Miller? Who was the backup to? We don't really have a backup to. Again, they have cleared open roster spots. Let me know if they don't have a backup to when training camp opens. Are you reading any of the rumors out there, MX Kenara? I think they're bringing somebody in. I know people are surprised about the Jordan Miller news. I was too. Even more surprised he could still play on their summer league team. Do you believe Beal is the last real move, or do you believe Bogey will be moved another signing? Uh, if Beal is the move, I think there's probably two moves coming. Beal could count for one of those. I still think there's another one because they have a minimum contract to give out, and they only have 13 guys. They have 12 guys currently on the roster. There are 3 roster spots open for the Clippers. Lee Vibin said Beal and CP3 will fit nicely. We'll see if that's the direction they go. I'm just going off the reporting. I don't have any insider knowledge for you guys, but it seems like there's a lot of smoke around Bradley Beal. Carlos Santana would rather play Jordan Miller than Beal. Beal has averaged 31 points in this league. Averaged. That's just crazy. Jordan Miller is not better than Bradley Beal, and he hasn't proven that he can be an NBA rotation player yet. Jordan Miller is 25, guys, not 21, not 22, not 23, not 24, and he'll be 26 in January. I was already saying I didn't understand why he and Kobe Brown would be in Summer League in the first place because they're this old and it would be their 3rd Summer League. You cannot tell me Jordan Miller did not get a chance. Go look at his game log from last season. He had a couple of good games at the beginning and then kind of faded off. Seemed to lose his confidence, stopped taking 3-pointers completely. I'm not saying he can't overcome it. He is a guy who's played a minimum amount of NBA basketball, but it wasn't going to happen most likely on this Clippers team. It just wasn't. You guys want to bring in all these players, all these good vets. It's like, well, you can't ask for all these good players to come, but then also ask them to play the young guys at the same time. Which is it? We talked about Jordan Miller a lot going into last season. I was very excited. There's no doubt about it. Many of us were. We thought Jordan Miller had real potential. He got an opportunity. He looked okay at first, but wasn't enough there to play on a team that ended up winning 50 games. You're going to have to be really good as a young guy to keep up with a team that is not exactly in rebuild mode, not exactly there to give out 25 minutes a night to young guys. Yeah, I was definitely a Jordan Miller believer. But after He went left and Russell Westbrook ripped him a couple of times and he lost the basketball against Denver. He never looked the same to me. Still will be rooting for him. We'll see where he could end up. Thank you, Manny. Hope you're doing good today as well. Carlos Santana said we might as well build a retirement complex inside into a dome. Some are projecting starting lineups: Harden, Beal, Kawhi, Collins, Zoo. Nothing's official with Bradley Beal. It just seems to be trending that way. All signs pointing towards Beal. Wow. Nikola Jokic has told the Nuggets he doesn't plan to sign a contract extension this offseason. Well, that's interesting. Let me look into this. Nikola Jokic is currently owed, and I can understand why, as good as they have done this offseason. It's a new regime, new coach. You might want to put some pressure on them. Wants to see what moves they make, how good the team is. But, of course, this is not nothing. When the best player in the world says he's not signing a contract extension with the only team he has been on. So he still has this year at $55 million, Jokic, next year at $59 million, and then a player option summer of 2027. Jokic is one of those guys that I could see zigging when others zag. And if this is true that he's not taking that contract extension, no, not an unrestricted free agent in 2026. See, this is misinformation. He would be, if he opts out of his player option 2027, he could be an unrestricted free agent. Because he has a player option for the 2027-2028 season, not 2026. 2027 is the earliest he could be an unrestricted free agent. This will perk some ears up. This will have people watching. Now, the report is coming from Denver Nuggets beat writer Bennett Durando. Nikola Jokic. So what age would he be? Summer 27, he'd be 31 or 32 if he became a free agent then. Some are already dooming. It's the usuals. Casuals. Mio. Dezio said, people have to realize that Miller was coming off a great G League season and an amazing summer league. He had all the hype to begin the season, and he did get run, but he didn't capitalize on it. That's on him. It's hard. Yes, it is on him. It's also difficult. I don't want to crucify the guy, but he didn't show enough. But he did get an opportunity. And it turns out dominating the G League, the Summer League, preseason basketball, it's just different than NBA ball. Especially when you're getting real minutes. Guys, he got some real minutes in games. He got a 32-minute game against Houston. Jordan Miller this season. For all you guys, why aren't we developing? Why didn't we play him? We didn't play him. Let me read you some of the minutes he got. 23 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 24, 24, 32, as I mentioned, 20 minutes, 23. You cannot tell me that Jordan Miller didn't get run. I'm sorry. That's just false. I was kidding, Mio. I was just calling you a doomer, giving you a hard time because I think we still have that rapport. Relax. Everybody take a step back. Take a drink of some pre-workout. Relax, Mio. I was just trying to get you riled up, and apparently it worked. We came to an understanding at some point while you started initially trolling the channel. We eventually saw eyeball to eyeball, eye to eye. Till Brian said, unfortunately, he's a scorer and can capitalize on being a role player that can just knock down threes. Jordan Miller and Kobe Brown both need to knock down threes. This is part of the deal. If you are going to be a role player in today's NBA, there aren't many that aren't knocking down 3-pointers. That's just part of it. You want to get on the floor? What did Don McClain tell me last summer? Maybe we'll have DMAC on again. Former NBA player, now trains a lot of the young guys coming into the draft. If you can't shoot, you can't play. That's what he tells young guys that he trains, and he has trained some of the best. Karl Anthony Towns worked with Paul George when he was coming up, Donovan Mitchell. If you can't shoot, you can't play. What did you say earlier, Jermaine? I'm sorry. You asked a question. What was it? I mean, it's looking like everything is going towards the direction currently of Bradley Beal being a Clipper. But it ain't official till it's official. It ain't over till it's over. And I don't want to jump the gun. Jordan Miller has been waived. Clippers have officially announced it. If he clears waivers, the team can keep him in the organization. He presumably will stay on the Summer League roster, but he is now eligible to be claimed by another team. So I guess there's a way to keep him around. I don't know. They got 3 two-way contracts. They would just keep him on the G League roster, but not on a two-way? I don't know. This is a tough one. You know, we talked about Jordan Miller probably for a good 2 months straight. Here on the podcast, Clips and Dip, everybody was just excited. We were hoping it would turn into the Jordan Miller season last year. Todd said, Brad doesn't love to catch and shoot, though he's very good at it. What are his catch and shoot numbers, Bradley Beal? Damian said, Jordan Miller doesn't have the moves, man. I wish he did. I was hyped on him in college, but he didn't improve at all. We can't say he didn't improve at all. He's got a Euro step, a no-dip three-pointer that he added. He's just, it wasn't refined enough. It wasn't NBA ready enough. Doesn't mean his career's over. Doesn't mean his time with the Clippers is over necessarily. Steve said, has there been any news about Malcolm? I see the Beal and CP3 news, but I don't hear anything about Malcolm Brogdon. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about Malcolm Brogdon in a while now, too. I saw a report earlier where DeAnthony Melton could go back to the Golden State Warriors. I just saw this post from Law Murray saying patterns are developing. I'll show you guys the picture that he put up at Law Murray, the NU here. One, play for the Wizards. John Wall was a Wizard. Russell Westbrook was a Wizard. 2, get traded to the Western Conference. John Wall got traded to Houston. Russell Westbrook got traded to the Lakers. Bradley Beal got traded to Phoenix. 3, reach buyout agreement after losing starter role. John Wall got that with Houston. Russell Westbrook got that with the Lakers, then Utah, and Bradley Beal reaching that buyout with Phoenix. 4, step 4, join the Clippers. John Wall did. Russell Westbrook did. Question mark on if Bradley Beal will be doing the same. Obviously, Law's plugged in. Came on with me yesterday. Broke down the John Collins signing. I do not think Bradley Beal would be the last move because they have 5.3 left on the mid-level exception and then enough money for another veteran minimum contract. And they currently have 3 open spots on the roster. I think one of them is going to Kobe Sanders, possibly. So there's 2 other ones where guys could be getting deals. Goofy said, damn, guess Miller needs a new home then. He had promised, but unfortunately didn't work out. I know. YouTube network is a little bit behind here. Clippers might get Beal because Powell. Big if true. Nick said, Steve, I think everyone is waiting for the Beal domino before guys like CP, Brogdon, etc. pick a team. Yeah, Beal seems to be hinging on Bradley Beal. Where does he go? And then the other guys will get picked up. I agree with this. Mio said, I'm actually happy the front office is going all in on these next 2 years for how much S we've given the front office. They've definitely maxed out our current situation. I think this is a fair post. Like, you just want a chance. And I think most of us believe the Clippers have the potential to be a top 4 team in the Western Conference. They have potential to be behind OKC, Houston, and also thinking of here, Denver Nuggets. If you have a chance to be the 4th best team in your conference, I don't think you should be blowing it up, especially when you don't have your own first round picks. It's reasonable to think the Clippers could contend in that area around the 4 spot. They just were the 5 spot and they only had Kawhi for 37 games last year. There's logical and rationale to this. There's logic and rationale to it. It's true. Jordan Miller was waived. This is dog. Miller and Kobe Brown put up a better effort in Game 7 when they were down 30 and the game was over. Unserious. Lee Vibin said CB3 last season back with the Clippers would be pretty dope. It's Chris Paul's swan song. He announced it last season. This is it for him. Miles Johnson said, don't know how it would work and if we have the assets for it, but how much would you be willing to pay Grimes and a potential sign and trade, Adam? They don't have enough. I mean, the only way that could happen is if they gave up, I guess, Bogey and his 16 million with Kobe Brown, and then maybe you get to 19. And yeah, Philadelphia has no reason to do that, so it's not happening. Someone's saying we should have capitalized on trading for Cam Whitmore. I like Cam, but again, how's he going to get run on this team? Ezio said Miller got some run when Kawhi was out, but in order to keep playing, he's got to beat someone out. Who would he have been better than last season? Nobody's getting a free spot on a team. I'll finish it for you. That is, or went on to win 50 games. It's a meritocracy. I'm sorry, everybody thinks there's some connection between, well, Brandon Boston got minutes in New Orleans. Cool. How many games New Orleans win? What were they playing for? Well, then you saw Musa get minutes with Charlotte. Cool. How many games did they win? 2 teams at the top of the draft. It's not the same thing. The Clippers are asking for much more. If you want to be able to play as a young guy on this team, you're going to have to beat out some really good guys. And by the way, New Orleans and Charlotte, I don't know how many minutes they're going to be giving up to those 2 players this upcoming season. Wish them the best, but getting numbers on bad teams is not the same on getting numbers on a winning squad, which is why I keep asking the question, who'd the Clippers let go or give up on that went on to play winning basketball? Who were those guys the past couple of years? There's Brandon Boston and Musa Diabate. They were doing it on really bad teams. Todd said, you know who also is very good at catch and shoot, but doesn't do it a lot? James Harden. Manifesting CP3. Yeah, I don't know. I've kind of given up on the idea of James Harden taking more catch and shoot shots. It's just not in his arsenal. It's not what he's comfortable with. He's too long into his career. It's not going to change, even though he's good at it, I don't think. Someone saying I think Jordan Miller didn't show it. He got shut down. O'Neal said, let's hope Beal's time with the Clippers don't end up like John Wall's time with the Clippers, ex-Wizards teammate. Deca Fantastic said Miller got rotation minutes. He was levels worse than Amir, who was still unsigned. Yeah. Todd said Beal is a much better shooter than Wall. No doubt. Goofy said, I need some convincing why Beal is a positive for our team. He has creation for himself, but I don't think he's better defensively than Norm. And he's even more injury prone, locker room issues too. You're right about it, more injury prone. I guess locker room issues compared to Norm, but I would say he is better defensively. Not by much, not by a ton, but he is better defensively than Norm. Oscar Brott said, man, this is hard. Hearing the Jordan Miller news, just chilling said, do you think Bogey gets moved or do you think his contract makes too much sense for them to move him? It's an expiring. It's movable. I think, let me double check. I think it's around 16 million. At some point, could it happen? Even if it doesn't happen now this summer, it could be somebody looking for that expiring contract at the end of this season. But the Clippers are also one of those teams that, yeah, it's 16 million with a club option for 16 million next year. So basically, it's an expiring because it's a club option for the next season. Those can be valuable for the Clippers or for somebody else. Somebody agreeing that, yeah, Amir barely got minutes to end the season. Miller is not better than Amir. Steve said in 2027, when Luka, Giannis, and Jokic are all unrestricted free agents and the Clippers have a chance to sign them, one is going to go. Oh, I can't believe we let Miller go. Yeah, I'm going to guess two of those three guys definitely won't be unrestricted free agents. You understand, Luka Doncic is going to be offered $229 million for 4 years on an extension with the Lakers on August 2nd. I think he's going to take it, and therefore he's no longer an unrestricted free agent in 2027. The amount of times people look and see who are going to be the upcoming unrestricted free agents and then don't factor in that those players could get extensions before then and therefore they don't end up becoming those unrestricted free agents. Well, just go look at what happened with SGA. I told everybody this for months. Like, it's just false to be like, oh, this guy's going to be an unrestricted free agent this year. He's going to be available. It's like, no, the most elite guys, the best guys out there, like the three you're mentioning here, teams aren't going to let them go for nothing. They're not going to lose them for nothing. That stuff is not happening anymore. It's not for the best of the best guys. Garrett said Miller seems like a great dude and had some promise. Unfortunately, a 25-year-old in summer league who can't get rotation minutes is far from expendable. We'll see. I guess there's a chance he could still be on the team, be on their G League team, but not on a two-way. I don't know. Goofy said if Beal is on the bench and Dunn starts to offset James's defense, the only answer I see so far. Adam Richards said, what's the point with all these moves? Oh, God. We just sign old guys. They suck. And then we lose them. And then we sign old guys. And we just mediocrity every year. Adam, your comments suck. They won 50 games with old guys last year, and one of them only playing 37 games. Brooke Lopez does not suck. He's 2 years removed from being second in Defensive Player of the Year voting. What is the point? To get better. Getting young is cool. Getting better is the goal. Todd said James also has no problem handing the ball off to Brad to cook. I think Booker and KD did. Someone says we need Beal. Carlos said, Adam, we should host a carne asada and talk clips. Yum. That Mexican Nara said, I hope our front office has a plan. If Beal doesn't happen, too many ifs for my liking. I'm sorry, it's not a guaranteed thing right now that Bradley Beal is a Clipper. If Beal gets bought out and if the Clippers choose the Clippers, Beal's getting bought out. Like, I'll tell you what, I'm going to circle back to this one, that Mexican Nara. I'm going to be reminding you of this one. Active Sports said Bradley Beal starting is a problem. If we signed him, make him a six man. I can understand that. Oscar said, Adam, for me, the Clippers have never been a destination in the past, so we rely on developing talent. We seem to now rely on getting players by trading or waivers, so it's just weird. I can see it being troublesome to wrap your head around a different shift in the Clippers' philosophy because they are a destination now, and guys do want to come here and do want to play for the Clippers and are good. I know they haven't won it all, but it's not nothing having the longest winning streak of 14 straight winning seasons in the NBA. Nick said, I was disappointed in Bogey for the most part in the playoffs. I was too, but he was good for them and shot 43% as a Clipper in the regular season in 30 games. Steven said, another young player we didn't give time to develop and he will go somewhere else and ball out. Was hoping he would break into the rotation this year, but wish him all the best wherever he lands. Do I need to run through the minutes played by Jordan Miller this past year? He got plenty of minutes. Do you want to win, or do you want to give young guys minutes that may or may not be NBA players? Because there's no guarantee that they are going to develop into being an actual NBA player. He'll go somewhere else and ball out. I'm glad Brandon Boston, for a bad team, put up some numbers. I'm glad Moussa Diabate, for a bad team, put up some numbers. Have you seen the moves the Charlotte Hornets and New Orleans Pelicans have been making? I don't know if they're prioritizing those two guys. It's not the same to put up numbers on bad teams. Absence said, love Brogdon's game, but he's more fragile than a Jenga tower. I think 3 of the last 4 seasons, Malcolm Brogdon has played less than 40 games. Someone else is saying Bogey was trash, should have traded his ass. Adam said, am I the only one tired of being mediocre? Are you all not over it? Winning 50 games is not mediocre. Jermaine said, Adam, I don't think that our mindset should be 4th best in the West. Honestly, I believe having a more optimistic starting point guard would serve the mindset of the team better. With Beal, CP3, 1, 2, or 3. I don't understand exactly what you're saying. It's not a mindset that the team should have that, hey, we can be 4th. But because nothing is guaranteed, it's easy to say, it's easy to say, we need to go out there. We need to be the number 1 seed in the West. I don't doubt the team should do that. But I think you have to take a realistic approach if you're the front office and say, where do we stack up in the Western Conference? And how good can we be? And based upon last year and how good we were then with these players, if we bring in these players, how much better can we get? Where could we end up in the standings? Like, you have to look at that. Yeah, somebody's saying mediocre. We're like the 2nd winningest team in the regular season in all of the NBA over the last 10 years. Mediocre what? Some people are just dooming hard. Anything less than a championship to some people is mediocre. It's just like, and for the biggest reason they haven't gone further for the most part has been injuries. This past season now, no excuses for that loss in the first round to the Denver Nuggets. Even though Denver was good, I think the Clippers should have won that series. This is the one I'm really disappointed in because they had a healthy team. The other ones, I understand why they lost. Damian said, we took the Nugs to 7, lacking depth, lacking bigs. We could have easily beat OKC. Okay, that's not true. Watching them struggle against Indy, where they probably would have lost if Hallie didn't get hurt. We can do big things next year. Okay, I just disagree with the one part of we could have easily beaten OKC. Jermaine said OKC is the perfect guys to guard Kawhi and James Harden. It would have been really tough. Jermaine said we have to have a better mindset if we're to ever win a championship. The team doesn't have to be perfect for us to win. In fact, I think our roster rivals OKC, Denver, and Houston. You think it rivals that? Like, you can have the best mindset in the world. You can be so focused on championship mindset. Talent wins out. God, Adam Richards annoying. Johnny said, not my Miller. I know. Not bad for a dad, said that's just not true at all. It shows they have had the talent to win. We haven't been mediocre at all. Sure, we haven't caught the breaks needed to win a championship, but overall, I wouldn't agree. Yeah, you need luck on your side too. A lot of you people don't realize the other side of a rebuild is you keep ending up in the draft or you keep rebuilding. Like look at Utah. Like you can be stuck in this perpetual rebuild for a while. It's not fun. It doesn't guarantee you anything. And when you don't have your own picks, you probably shouldn't be in complete teardown mode. So Todd is actually contributing to the show here in a good way. James Harden posted a 41% catch and shoot 3-point percentage during last season. Oh, yeah. But how many? How many attempts was it, Todd? Jermaine said, Adam, you're selling this team short because you've been disappointed so many times, but looking at the talent and coaching, the team could win it all. I'm not saying it's impossible to win it all. I'm saying on paper, I think they have the fourth best team in the West. That doesn't mean it has to play out that way. Obviously, the game is not played on paper. Quentin said, can we send Bogey to Brooklyn and get Terrence back? Do contract match there? I guess it's possible, but I think they're trying to free up more money, Quentin, for 2026 and 2027. Bradley Beal on catch and shoots, 39% about last season. Okay. Not bad for a dad. Said, cool, Adam Richard. Every fan base in the NBA wants to win. Guess what? One team wins every year. You acting like it's something any team can just easily do. Agree. Well put. Not bad for a dad. Yeah, they didn't draft Isaiah Hartenstein. It's not the same thing as letting go of. Like, I mean, it's disappointing. Don't get me wrong, but I was talking about who were the guys that they drafted and just let go, and they ended up let go, not traded. Like SGA was traded, he was used as an asset. I'm talking about guys that were just let go, like Brandon Boston, Musa Diabate. Where are all those examples of guys that went on to play high level basketball on a winning team? Access said, that is shocking. The kid had so much promise. It leads me to believe that there's mutual interest between the Clippers and Bradley Beal. Oh, shit. I think that's a real possibility. We landed on the moon. Let's see. Joey Lynn said Jordan Miller was the last player on the court yesterday, still working out after the Clippers Summer League practice. Hard worker, really nice person. Hope he finds a good opportunity somewhere. I agree. Goofy said that Bogey and some other contract, maybe a mirror sign and trade to the Sixers for Grimes idea is appealing. They're not gonna sign a mirror like no, they're not getting Quentin Grimes for Amir Coffee. Like I agree with this, that Mexican Nara. I thought like Miller might end up as the 10th guy on the roster or something like that. Get better with a 37-year-old Brook Lopez. Do you understand? He is a backup center and one of the best backup centers in the league. He's backing up Ivica Zubac. The 37-year-old was playing 31 minutes per game this past year. Make it 32. Who are we kidding? Who are you kidding with your basketball analysis, Adam? Bad Adam Richard. Evil Adam. Just whiff after whiff. All right. Michael said Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, Raphael. Who do you have by your side in the dark alley? Probably Raph. MKXLNT said great point last night from Tomer. You can be good and old or young and bad. That's the reality. That wasn't Tomer, that was Rousseau. Good and old or young and bad. The majority of the time, yes, this is how it goes. Not every old team is good, not every young team is bad. They didn't just let like I can't even deal. The Shake said, so many emotional people in the chat. You always begging for Collins. You got him. Now you're still ain't satisfied. LOL. So odd. Yet so predictable, Miss Shakes, right? Who could have seen this coming? Clipper Nation had like 16 hours of pure bliss after getting John Collins, and now it's back to a lot of people in here at least complaining. Big RR said, I think it's a good trade for the Clippers. I like John Collins. Thank you. Lolio Senile said, Lolilu, he got his chance. Wasn't good enough to crack Ty's rotation. Wish him all the best. G League is not the NBA. Talking about Jordan Miller. Mike Dang said, as long as Bradley Beal secures a contract buyout with the Phoenix Suns, the LA Clippers are the likely leaders to sign the guard, league sources tell The Athletic. Yeah, every single reputable reporter, reputable, says that the Clippers are the most likely team to land Bradley Beal. So I will read you what Law Murray just posted from The Athletic. This is from Law Murray, Dan Wojcicki, and Fred Katz. Here it is. Here's the article. As long as Bradley Beal, and then the title is Clippers likely to sign Bradley Beal if Suns buyout contract sources. As long as Bradley Beal secures a contract buyout with the Phoenix Suns, the LA Clippers are likely the leaders to sign the guard, league sources tell The Athletic. Contending Western Conference teams have expressed interest in the 32-year-old who averaged 17 points per game last season in Phoenix, but came to represent the Suns' inflexibility as they failed to build a contender around him, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant. If he goes to the Clippers, Beal would be a part of a potential lineup with James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, John Collins, and Ivica Zubac. The team paved the way for that possibility by trading Norman Powell to Miami in a three-team swap that brought Collins in for the Utah Jazz. From the Utah Jazz, the Clippers can offer Beal up to $5.3 million in salary for this season. They have cap space left over from the $14.1 million non-taxpayer mid-level exception, which they used most of to sign Brook Lopez. The team finalized his contract on Sunday. After dealing Powell, Clippers president of basketball operations, Lawrence Frank, alluded to more moves on the horizon. Quote, the work's not done. We still have a lot of work to do, but I think we're moving in the right direction to give this group a chance to be better than we were last year, Frank said. There's obviously no guarantees. The West is unforgiving, yet at the same time, we have to run our own race, and we're doing the best we can. Beal has also considered the Los Angeles Lakers, the Golden State Warriors, and Milwaukee Bucks, league sources said. As of Tuesday, Beal and the Suns were still discussing the possibility of a contract buyout. Both sides remain optimistic it will get done, league sources tell The Athletic. He has 2 years and $110.8 million remaining on his deal. If the Suns waive Beal, they could stretch his salary over 5 seasons, leaving approximately $19.4 million in dead money on their books through 2029-2030. Because of a quirk in the collective bargaining agreement, Beal must give back at least $13.8 million in a buyout for the Suns to stretch his salary. Beal understands that because the money has dried up on the free agent market, he is unlikely to make back the $13.8 million he would be giving up right away. His ideal move could be to sign a 2-year contract with a player option on the second season, allowing him to re-enter the market in 2026 to sign for a larger number. The Clippers waived third-year forward Jordan Miller on Tuesday, a league source said, a move that will give them a bit more room below the first apron, a payroll threshold slightly above the luxury tax. Had they not waived Miller, giving Beal a $5.3 million salary would have made it more complicated to fill out the roster with 2 veterans on minimum contracts. Beal signed a 5-year, $251 million contract with the Washington Wizards in 2022 that contained a no-trade clause, a rarity in the league, where front offices don't typically yield that level of control. This is the latest from The Athletic, from Law Murray, Dan Wojcicki, and Fred Katz on Bradley Beal. That's how the article reads. Adam, a new Adam said, all these people that's complaining has to be some kids. Mike Dang said, Adam Richards is either trolling, delusional, or just has a very poor understanding of how the CBA works. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm glad you guys are trying to talk some sense into him. Johnny626 said, active sports, buddy, that's the, okay, nonsensical. Incoherence. Todd said, Brooke Lopez is the best backup center the Clippers have had in years. This team will be very good, manifesting Kawhi 70 games. I will take 55 plus. And Kawhi in a Dodgers hat? Nah, he's a Padres guy. James Harden averaged 3 catch and shoot 3-pointers per game. So shot 41% on catch and shoot threes with 3 a game. Goes up with CP3, just saying. Johnny said, in all honesty, Lawrence Frank has done an immaculate job this offseason and last, making the most of many restrictions, staying under the aprons. Big RR64 said rebuilding today is a very tough way to go because even tanking doesn't guarantee you a number 1 or 2 pick, and sometimes those players don't even work out. It's really a crapshoot. Exactly. This idea that, oh, you just rebuild and you'll get one of the top players. You get another SGA, just rebuild. No, it's not how it works. Thank you for the super chat, Deca Fantastic. Appreciate you as always. Yeah, tough to rebuild without picks. Elijah said Beal really excites me with his pick and roll creation and just a guy who can get a bucket. Ronil said, I am sleepy. I will keep listening until I fall asleep. We appreciate your listenership. What do we got? Philip White said, I don't see what everyone's issue is. Most of us literally had this trade ready to go in a trade machine. I just don't like how the mainstream media creators are getting it wrong. Feels disrespectful. The John Collins trade, a lot of them are saying, I don't know if it's a lot, but some are saying, oh, that wasn't a good trade for the Clippers. It was. Because Norman Powell, as much as I love him, if the Clippers are fully healthy, he's kind of a luxury. And he doesn't do much else but score. Now, I don't want to make the mistake and say Chris Carter just catches touchdowns. Scoring is important. But when Kawhi is healthy, when James Harden is out there, when you have Ivica Zubac progressing the way he has, you got to be able to do other stuff. And the Clippers had a position of need at the 4 that many of you said they needed to fill. They did. They got John Collins. You're welcome. Jesus Rodriguez said, looking forward to this season. I'll root for whoever is wearing a Clippers jersey when the season starts. Front office going to cook. Clippers going to clip. Let's go. Is Clippers going to clip a pejorative? Elijah said, only thing you can be mad at this offseason is we keep drafting these old-ass rookies. What's the point in that if we're going to pick up Brooke Lopez, pick a younger guy, develop? Well, if any of these guys are ready to go next season, the Clippers, again, they're going to have a lot of cap room, at least possibly, in 2026 now. Jermaine is very high on this team. Zoo, Beal, Kawhi, Collins, Harden, bench Lopez, Batum, CP3, Dunn, DJ, Bogey. You don't think that team could finish first in the West and winning a title this season? Why fourth? That's my question, Adam. I tried to explain this a few different times, Jermaine. This is my last attempt. On paper, OKC is the champs. I think Denver is better. I think Houston is better on paper. Are the Clippers significantly behind them if all those guys you just listed are healthy and ready to go? No. But it is an older team. You know some of those guys are going to be banged up, and they still have to come together. They have to build up chemistry. So there's a lot there. Todd said Beal's ability to consistently knock down, catch and shoot threes opens up driving lanes for Harden and Kawhi. Harden's high usage allows Beal to get clean looks as a spot-up shooter if he wants. B said, what realistic moves could still be made to make the Clippers the presumptive favorite? I don't think there's any move out there that's going to make them the clear-cut favorite. That's unrealistic. They have a lot of good players they could deal. Who are all these good players they could deal? And who would they be dealt for? Not too bad, I hope. Said this offseason is a lot more action than I was expecting. Shamsharania called it. Joshua said, do you think Brad will mesh well with this team? I feel like the locker room's strong, and for the most part, outside of PJ Tucker, they haven't had any issues, really. Outside of when he and Bones were sent home when they weren't traded. Carlos Santana said, Adam, you look like you haven't left the house in months. That bad? Adam said, I'm saying Clips finish in a tie for third place seeding. Okay. Who is the tiebreaker? Elijah said exactly. Felt so discouraging feeling small against the Nuggets towards the end. Well, they got the size now because Brooke Lopez can play in a playoff series. John Collins, they got size. Big RR64 said, I'm looking forward to Big Zoo dominating next year. Post Mamone said, Norm has a decent defense. I'll take Collins, though. Norm's defense, I'm sorry, I couldn't defend it. When he came back from injury and in the playoffs, his defense just wasn't very good. I said it then. I got to say it now. Jesus Rodriguez or Jesus Rodriguez said Bradley Beal 50 plus million, less than Bradley Beal 5.5 million. Yeah, a lot of how you view players is through the prism of how much they make. Bradley Beal for 5.3 million, which is likely what he'd be getting, that is a steal. Same with DeAndre Ayton with the Lakers, to be honest. DeAndre Ayton at 35 million, no. DeAndre Ayton at 8 million, okay. Nick said, so glad we got a power forward. I hated seeing Kawhi guarding bigs in the post, all that contact. Christian quoting Clavon, Clippers going to cut you in half like a wave. Raul said, any Chris Dunn minutes going to be available this year if we get Beal? Guy was a dog on defense last year along with Derek Jones. They want to be a good defense. He's going to need to get minutes. Jermaine said, we don't need all the best players to compete for a title, like a particular individual who always seemed to need all the best players to compete for a title, according to the media, never has enough help. Oh, you're talking about LeBron. LeBron. Y'all are obsessed. Maddox said, Adam, Jokic is not the best player in the world. It's SGA right now. No, I'd still say it's Jokic. Slightly. SGA was on a better team this past year. Jokic was asked to do more for his team, I would say. It's close, but yeah, I would have given SGA the regular season MVP because the team wins have to mean something, and they won, 68 games. But I still think as an individual, Jokic, probably the better player, slightly. Good Adam said, I do think we can make the West Finals. I really do. Lizio said, if we signed Beal and CP3, we would have a problem with depth. A good problem with depth. Oh, I got you. Johnny said, one thing for sure on paper, we match up way better against the Wolves, Houston, Lakers, and Pelicans. Agree. Adams said, Ty Lue has to get out his own way and no favorites. B said, Kawhi or Zoo plus filler for Giannis. It's not happening. Did you see what they just did with Damian Lillard? They used the stretch provision on him. They're trying to keep Giannis, for now at least. I think eventually he will be traded, but they're not making that move. Todd said if Ty Lue subs in, if they trade Giannis, they'd be asking for 3 first-round picks. They'd be going into rebuild mode, not we want Kawhi at 34 years of age. Todd said if Ty Lue subs in a rebounder on that Gordon tip-in, we win. We honestly would have won the championship rookie season. Yeah, I don't know about winning the championship. I think OKC likely beats the Clippers in the second round, but I would have wanted to see it. Deca Fantastic said Clips have enough space left over for a veteran minimum contract and to sign Kobe Sanders using the second round pick exception. Yes. Rewind. I have stated that at the beginning of this video. Ray said just caught up on the news. Guess Friday's game is a must watch for the Miller Time Truthers. People keep asking, why do we let go Miller instead of Kobe Brown? Because Kobe Brown's contract is guaranteed for next season, and Jordan Miller's wasn't. Goofy said, Adam, you think Cam is going to take a significant leap to play more minutes now that Miller's waived? He's more muscular, so I hope this summer league shows his progress. I hope it does too. I expect a lot out of Cam, but he didn't shoot it well from three in the G League last year, but he did get up a lot, so I'm okay with it. And his shot looks beautiful, so I'm not really worried. It'll go in. What else do we got? Doomers, Beal and CP3, injuries galore. Raul said, how many picks can we get for Zubats and clear a spot for Jokic? I'm kidding, of course. Jermaine said Jokic is the best player and it's not close, Adam. Jokic impacts his team far more and in far more ways than SGA. Agree the Thunder were better this past season, but SGA is not close to Jokic, honestly. I wouldn't say not close because SGA, better defender, and he also is charged with a lot of the offensive high usage stuff that Jokic does. Not to that level. Jokic is the ultimate master of bending the defense. David said, I like the offseason move so far, particularly the addition of John Collins. Absent said, I don't think Houston is above the Cliffs. Their best player is a 37-year-old KD, playoff Kawhi over playoff KD. Yeah, I mean, maybe you can make that argument. Houston's young, but I really like their defense is going to be really tough. Their athleticism, the Terror Twins, and then Jabari Smith Jr. What does he do this year? What type of leap does he make? Şengün, Brad Van Vliet's on a new, cheaper, more team-friendly deal. I don't know. Maybe you could make that argument. Like, I think you could make the argument. I mean, you could say you could try to sell me the Clippers are better than Houston on paper. I think that's out there. I don't know about Denver though, just because Jokic. Miles Johnson said the defense would be a real concern, but the offensive potential of a Harden, Beal, Kawhi, Collins, Zoo lineup is tantalizing, man. All guys can make plays and create a shot for themselves. Yeah, that's a lot of offense. I have expressed my concerns defensively only because this past season it felt like for the first time in a long time, their identity, the Clippers' identity, wasn't just, hey, they're really good. It's they lean on their defense. They were top 3 in defense, and it was a pleasure to get to see a team every night last season when you knew they were going to show up on the defensive end. That's a big deal. So losing that defensive identity, if you go with this starting lineup, should Beal become a Clipper. Nothing's official yet, but seems close. You're going to be missing some defense because now you have Harden, Beal, and John Collins, 3 guys in the starting lineup who aren't great defenders. Last season, you only had 2. Raul said, get some rest, Adam. He gave us a good 60 minutes. Have some energy for when the Beal news breaks. I won't be in Las Vegas, unfortunately, for Summer League. I wish. Mechanics said, damn, now I got to get to Vegas to root for Miller time one last time. Xavier said, it's been rumors of Joker and Luca playing together. Yeah, there have been those. Upon said, I'm liking the new roster. This team's steam is stacked and will make a deep run this season. The team is stacked. Garrett said, Houston is scaring me. Amen might be my favorite non-Clipper, and their floor-raising environment plus KD's ceiling raising is dangerous. Agree. Mosey said, Clippers are not better on paper, and I love the Clippers. B. West said, did Shadow get slammed by the door when you found out about Jordan Miller? No. Shadow's fine. No cats were harmed during the making of this podcast. Yesterday, when the news broke with John Collins, I may have opened the door very quickly, and Shadow always waits outside of it, and I kind of trucked her like I was Jerome Bettis, but she was fine. And she still loves me. D said, I honestly can't believe in the in the Clips unless they finish top 3, man. Been on this roller coaster too many times. Well, no team has won outside the top 3 since 1995 with the Houston Rockets, and that's kind of unique in itself since they were the defending champs. Ross said the Clippers still have Jeff Van Gundy. He will scheme the best defense with the personnel. Yes, I believe they'll be able to bring out the most in these players. And I put up the video yesterday of John Collins and his mixtape from last season and just showing off how quick his feet are on offense. Why can't some of that translate to defense? Because Lawrence Frank said yesterday regarding John Collins as a defender, quote, I do think that he's going to rise to the level of what we're doing here. They're going to challenge him and push him. So if there's more defensive potential in John Collins, they will get it out of him. Jermaine said Zoo is better than Şengün, or a wash with Kawhi and KD, a wash. Harden is better than Fred VanVleet, Collins and Jabari, a wash. Where is that significant argument for Houston? I didn't say it was. I mean, I think they are better on paper. You didn't bring up Amen Thompson. You didn't bring up Tari Eason. I don't know if Collins and Jabari. I mean, you could say that, I guess, at this point. Their ceiling, they're a unique mix of young guys and an older guy. I like the blend on paper with these Houston Rockets. All right, like they were the 2 seed this past year with Jalen Green playing heavy minutes. And a lot of the net rating stuff tells you that he didn't make them better. You plug in KD instead of Jalen Green, how many more games do they win? They were the 2 seed. Joshua Smith said, Adam, did you see that the Clippers are trying to sign Beal to a 2-year deal to aligning? I didn't see they're trying to. I saw and I read the report that it could be a 2-year deal with a player option the second year. Master of the Keys said Jeff Van Gundy going to have his hands full with that defense. Raul said, will there be a John Collins news conference? I don't know. Jermaine said, only team I honestly would fear in the West is Denver. At this point, Denver's beaten the Clips multiple times in the playoffs. At one point, they had beaten them like 8 straight times in the regular season. They got the Clippers number. Todd said the Clippers transition defense, when if Harden and Beal are on the floor, could be challenging. I don't know what this question is. Are we trying to win a championship because we can't have it both ways? Is this a championship or bust year? What do you mean both ways? What do you mean by both ways? Miles said, as well as L. Frank has done, it's hard for me to believe this is a chip level team when our second best players are 34. Our 2 best players are 34 and 36. It's a younger team game right now. I mean, that's fair. Jermaine said, I honestly know that we can beat OKC, Minnesota, Houston, the Lakers, and would battle against Denver. Mostly said we had Jeff Van Gundy in game 7 too. Our defense wasn't good enough in that series. Mike said, I think a top 5 offense and a top 10 to 12 defense will be good enough. Yeah. Active Sports said we get Bradley Beal. We should be considered one of the favorites in the West to win it all. Just saying. Thank you for the Jalen Green hate. It's not. He's a young player. I hope he figures it out. I was high on him in the draft. Miles Johnson said, do people remember what Houston's athleticism did to us last season? They didn't have Kawhi for any of those games, but Brino said Clippers are right there with Houston for the second best team in the West. I think they will end up in the 3 seed. Second best team, so they're jumping over Denver? So I think it's OKC, Denver, and Houston make the argument are all better than the Clippers on paper. Active said, if you play the young guys and we lose, the expectation drops and we actually get to see if these players are worth it. If every year we're trying to win the championship, then we need to be held to those standards. Okay, I kind of see what you're saying. I mean, if you want to say they failed because they didn't win the championship this past year, okay. It's totally up to you. I don't know if I'd put it like that. I just think they had a chance to win that first round series. They should have won the first round series, I believe. They were good enough to win it, and there are no excuses for losing that series. Reno said just because Kawhi will not play more than 60 games, that's a reason to think those other teams are in front of the Clippers. Hotline Bling said, can't wait to see Beal in that Clippers jersey. Mikey Ramirez said, I'm late, man. Jordan Miller, I liked him, but this probably means Beal is happening. Had him screaming in all caps, it's all about matchups, people. So it just depends. It's all pipes. Active Sports said it's just being top four is not good enough to be trading away all our young talent depending on free agency against this new CBA. What is all the young talent they're trading away? Planet 619 said Houston is younger and more athletic than we are. Do I think Clips will finish top three with Beal and CP3 edition? Let's cross that bridge when we get there, if we get there. Let's see if they get him. So basically, we traded Norman for Collins and Beal. Yep, L. Frank is cooking. Jermaine said, here's a wild take. Ooh, can't wait. OKC finishes 3 or lower in the West, and the Clippers finish 3 or higher. Adam, please bookmark this comment. Remember, I said it here. Cool. I'm the receipt master. I will remember. Denver lost Michael Porter Jr., got Cam Johnson out of it. I think Russ is addition by subtraction likely for them. Bruce Brown, not that good. He helped them win a championship 2 years ago. Getting him on a veterans minimum too was insane. Garrett said anyone raging over Jordan Miller could not have watched him play last year. He had a couple good games early, then teams found out he could only go left and he got shut down. Also poor defensively. That's a succinct way of putting it, a little bit harsh, but I'm still rooting for the guy, whether he's with the Clippers organization or anywhere else. I'm a Jordan Miller fan. But it looks like he has been waived and has been waived by the Clippers. We'll see if he's still going to be with them in Summer League or not. I'm Adam Osland. You have been listening to another edition of Clippers Talk. We'll see what happens with the Bradley Beal situation.